So you just got into comics and you want to know where to start reading DC Comics? Where this is the video for you. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geek City, and today I'm going to be showing you the top 10 best DC Comics for new readers. So let's get straight into this. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geek City. I did a video for Marvel where I looked at the top 10 best Marvel comics for new readers, and that video did really well, and I said if it did well, I'd do one for DC, so here we are. The rules are I can talk about anything that's not omnibuses. Basically, omnibuses, are these books right here, and if you want to see a video where I talk about the top 10 best omnibuses for new readers, I've actually already done that. I did one, and it did really well, and that's kind of what inspired me to do this series. I talked about 5 Marvel and 5 DC omnibuses, and if this video does well, I'll do one where I look at the top 10 best indie comics for new readers. So that could be anything from any company that's not Marvel or DC. That'd be like Image, Dark Horse, IDW, self-published stuff, anything like that. If you want to see that, let me know in the comment section down below. And let's not waste any more time and get straight into this. Alright, so let's get straight into this. This is in no particular order. This isn't a ranking. This is just me looking through 10 books. And the first one I want to talk about is Batman The Long Halloween. I feel like this is one that everybody knows about. But there's a reason for that. This truly is an iconic story. So let's look at the book. So, for those of you who are really new to comics and have never heard of the story, this is Batman The Long Halloween, written by powerhouse duo Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. And this is one of, if not the greatest Batman comic of all time. And the reason is because it is this incredible mystery where people from the Falcone and the Maroni family are getting murdered every holiday. And it's this mystery that takes place over a year as Batman's trying to solve the crime and figure out who is responsible. It really is a fantastic read and a great book to read for new readers. If you just kind of want to get a taste of, you get a Batman where you both get the detective side and the vigilante side. So you get to see him in these fun fights, but you also see him actually solving a mystery. So you're getting the best of both worlds. And you get fantastic artwork in here, very stylized by Tim Sale. And this is also a book where you get a ton of the Rogues Gallery, which is always a great thing. If you want a book where you really get to see, like, a ton of characters, this is the book for you. You get Joker, Poison Ivy, Scarecrow, Mad Hatter, Catwoman. Ton of characters show up in here. And you get to see the origin of Two-Face. It's really sad. You see Harvey Dent over time just kind of going crazy. You get the Calendar Man. I mean, you really do get everything in here. This is the ultimate Batman book for new readers because you're getting the introduction to so many iconic characters, but you're also seeing one of the best, parts of Batman. This is him in his early years, still not the best at solving mysteries, figuring it out as he goes along. And overall, it is just an incredible read. And it was followed up by Dark Victory, which is also a great book, and that introduces Robin in it, and that's another really good book. So, the next book I want to talk about is Blackest Night, and originally I was actually going to have Infinite Crisis here, but I realized I feel like there's a lot of homework you need to do for Infinite Crisis, like reading Crisis on Infinite Earths, but this is one where I don't feel like you really need a lot of background information. The book kind of introduces who the villain is. I mean, if it would help if you had been reading Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. But I mean, all this is here to lay out, who this villain is, and, you don't really need anything else. It kind of just lays it all out for you. It's this great story where a ton of the dead superheroes at the time are now coming back to life as, like, zombies. You're getting this new Lantern, and this was a part of the run that, Jeff Johns has been building to since, like, his first issue. This was really an epic storyline that he'd been setting up. Now there's omnibuses that collect this stuff. There's a ton of ways to collect it because it really is an epic story with incredible artwork here. And it's written by Jeff Johns, so you're getting some great storytelling. And of course, again, Ivan Reyes' art is incredible. And if you're into more like horror books, this is another book for you. But one of the reasons I wanted to include a couple of like big events on here is because it's one of those big ensemble books. You get to see a lot of, different characters in here. You get the Flash, Green Lantern, all the different factions here. John Stewart. I mean, a ton of cast of characters. And just looking at the cover here, you can already see, like, this is a book with a big cast in it, and it really is like an epic story. You get the White Lantern, Sinestro, Martian Manhunter, Superman. And you get to see some dead characters coming back to life, so that's cool. The next book is one where it took me some time to get used to, but I understand now like why this is considered by most people to be the best comic book of all time, and that is Watchmen. This is a part of the DC Vertigo line. now known as like Black Label. And I've read this multiple times, like 5 different times, and it never really, I don't know, and it just never really clicked for me. I didn't really understand it. And then I watched the 2-part animated movie, and I really dug it. And so then I reread the book, and I was like, okay, I think I get it now. Maybe I'm just super dumb that a movie had to explain it all to me. But I don't know, it just clicked for me that this is an epic story that Alan Moore is telling here, taking place over decades of time with, this mystery of who killed the comedian, and you're seeing like how superheroes have changed. It's cool to see all the different decades of heroes and how they're looked at, and how it really is a commentary on how realistically this type of stuff would go. Now, is not the easiest read. It's a bit of a burnout. It's really dense, and you get stuff like this. It's really dense, but it's still incredible. And I mean, Rorschach is such a great lead character, but you also just have a great ensemble in here with like Dr. Manhattan, Ozymandias, this couple right here. Well, they're not a couple at the beginning of the book, but you'll get to it. And so you're having to see these retired heroes coming back into action. And so it's funny how it's like the first half is totally different from the second half, where the first half is Rorschach trying to solve this mystery, and you're going through all these different flashbacks, and you see him like learning about this character, and you see Dr. Manhattan's past. But then the second half is really when things go, all these twists and turns with Dr. Manhattan, Rorschach's in prison, and him having to escape, and learning about what really happened with the comedian and everything. And it is a great book, and the ending is pretty crazy, but great read. It might take you a couple times. It clicked for me finally. This is probably the newest book on this list when it comes to actually being released. This is like, the book came out in early 2000s, but this collection came out in 2024. This is a part of the DC Finest line, which is essentially, it's basically just epic collections for DC. But this is Gail Simone's run on Wonder Woman. George Perez has the best run, but that's an omnibus, and I already talked about that. But this is the Gail Simone run, and it is incredible. This collects one of the best Wonder Woman stories, The Circle, where you have this group of Amazons who are there to protect Hippolyta, and they believe that Wonder Woman is not right to be leading or to be protecting Earth. But then you also get like these neo-Nazis, and you get to see Wonder Woman take them out. But you also just get a lot of other fun stories. You get some of the Brave and the Bold issues where like she's working with other heroes. You get one where she works with, I believe it's toward the beginning of the book, where she's working with Power Girl, who's essentially just an angrier version of Supergirl. I believe there's some Green Lantern in here, if I recall. Fantastic artwork, great writing. I think Gail Simone is a fantastic writer. I haven't read a ton of her stuff, but from what I've read, it's incredible. Cheetah. But yeah, The Circle is definitely my favorite part, and that's towards the beginning of the book. But you get stuff with Ares in here. Just overall, a nice, epic storyline. And I believe there's an omnibus of this, but I don't need the full omnibus. I just need this trade paperback. Oh, there's Black Canary. Yeah. Great book. Next up, my Superman pick. There were so many I could have gone with, but I chose to go with Superman, The Man of Steel by John Byrne. This was after Crisis on Infinite Earths, and basically all of the characters, got a new #1 and retelling their origin stuff. So this is Superman, Man of Steel, written by John Byrne, retelling Superman's origin story for a modern day. And there are a ton of retellings, but I don't own a ton of them. Like, I don't own Birthright or the Jeff Johns stuff, but I do need to get that. But I don't know how any of them could top this. This is really what redefined Superman in the 80s. It's an incredible run, and they're collected in these. The Man of Steel line is collected in these 4 like thick hardcovers. I only own the first one, and it kind of makes me mad that they basically decided to make like the first volume blue, and then the next 3 are like orangey yellow, and it's really ugly. And I think the blue looks much better. Or they could have gone with the red. I don't know why they chose like this orangey yellow, but it basically retells the origin story of Clark Kent. I love origin stories, so that's always cool to see. And you see all the different era with each issue. You get like a different era where you get Superman in this first issue just living in Smallville. You see about his parents having to get rid of, or not get rid of him, but send him to Earth because Krypton's blowing up. I believe it's issue 4 where you get Batman showing up, like their first meeting. And then you get, yeah, there it is. You get Lex Luthor, this new version who's more of like an evil businessman. You get Bizarro. A lot of iconic stuff in here, man. Really just reintroducing the character of Superman. You get the Adventures of Superman. Love that issue. And so yeah, this is collected over 4 different hardcovers. I just on the first one would love an omnibus of this stuff, and I believe originally these were supposed to be omnibuses, and they just decided to make them hardcovers. But it's a great story. Love the artwork. John Byrne, fantastic writer. His one of the greats. Spider-Man run is great. Fantastic Four run is great. Same with this Superman book. It's great. So if you want, you get the Bloodsport issue where Superman shot with Kryptonite bullet. If you liked the Suicide Squad movie and you want to see where that character shows up, this is for you. Even Etrigan shows up, as you can see here. So yeah, if you want to see the origin of Superman, this is the one that I go with personally. I know there's a lot of options, but I think this is the best. It's big. You're getting a lot of stuff in here, and reintroduces a ton of characters. Next up, I was deciding which Nightwing run I was going to go with, but I knew I had to go with my favorite Nightwing run. This is the Tom Taylor run. Tom Taylor, fantastic writer. And this is a fantastic book. This takes place after the events of City of Bane, where I don't want to spoil what happens, but a big character in Nightwing in the Bat family's life dies. I'm not going to say who that is, but this is basically the aftermath of that, where Nightwing has a bunch of money, or I could say Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson has a ton of money now, and he now wants to make a change in Bloodhaven. I don't want to spoil too much, but I love how Barbara Gordon is used in this book. And this really felt like an epic saga that was brewing over time, where you get like the character of Blockbuster, and it's this mystery that takes place over multiple different volumes. I love this Bruno Redondo artwork. It's fantastic, and I love how him and Barbara Gordon's relationship is going to change for forever. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, you need to read this book. I only own the first 3 volumes, and we're getting an omnibus. I'm debating whether I should buy it or not, since I feel like a lot of that stuff I already own in trades. And I need to be smart about. I love the Superman issue right here. Again, this artwork by Bruno Redondo is fantastic. But yeah, this is only the beginning of this run. It's an epic story, but I do love this volume a lot. It's a fantastic book. Do yourself a favor and check this one out. Next up, Justice League. You know I had to have a Justice League book. I went with The Tower of Babel. This is an iconic storyline by one of, if not my favorite writer, Mark Waid, and Howard Porter on artwork. This is the deluxe edition. So in the beginning, you do get some like issues that are just random, storylines here. But let's get to the back. This is where the good stuff is. This is where the story you really want to see. Hold on. Yeah, this collects like all the issues that aren't written by Grant Morrison, because there's the Grant Morrison omnibus, and this collects basically all the issues that don't have that. So you get 43 through 46 is the Tower of Babel stuff. But basically what it is if you've seen the movie Justice League Doom, then you kind of get the idea of the story here, where basically Batman has all these contingency plans for all of the Justice League, right? Well, what happened if a villain got his hands on it? Wouldn't be very good. So you see the Justice League getting torn apart, all of their weaknesses are exposed, and they're being used against them. Batman, this is a great Batman story, as well as a great Justice League story. Fantastic artwork, great writing, where Batman realizes, look at that. Superman, I did this to you. And it's fantastic story. Where basically all of their weaknesses are exposed, and Batman has to fight against Ra's al Ghul, and the Justice League has to come together, and there's this decision on, how do they feel about Batman and doing all this, and it's a great book. So yeah, that is Tower of Babel. Very iconic story, and it's great. Next up, Green Lantern. There was a couple I could have gone with here. I considered doing the Secret Origin book. I also considered actually using the new run, the one that just came out with the DC Dawn of DC, but I decided to go with Kyle Rayner. This is the Kyle Rayner Rising Compendium. DC's been making a lot of compendiums lately. I don't own a ton of them, but they are cool. Woo! So this is at the point where basically Hal Jordan, we'll just say, lost something very close to him. I won't go into detail on what that is, but he goes a little crazy and becomes Parallax, where he gets all these rings and becomes evil. So they need to get a new Green Lantern. So that's when you get Kyle Rayner. And this is a great story here. Ron Mars doing most of this. Oh, you get the girlfriend. Getting fridged. I don't know if you've ever heard that term in comic books, getting fridged, but this is what caused that term. So you get him fighting against Parallax. You just get him going on all these cosmic adventures, and I love this '90s artwork and these colors really pop on this paper. It's like really, really thin paper, and I don't know how to describe it, but the paper I think really pops off in these beautiful like blue colors and stuff. Great Green Lantern book, and I was never a big Kyle Rayner fan before this, but I think after reading this, I really get why so many people love him. And I wish we got to see more of him in modern comics. He's not in a lot of more modern Green Lantern books. So there's a lot of Parallax in here. So that is Green Lantern. Final two. You know I had to sneak in one more event, and I had to go with Flashpoint. Let's say you're someone who wants to get into New 52. This is a book you need to read before you do that. This is written by Jeff Johns, one of my favorite writers. Incredible artwork by Andy Kubert. And this is basically the story of the Flash trying to go back in time to save his mom, and finding out that causes a whole, messing up the entire timeline. And that's when you get, if you're a big fan of alternate timelines and different universes, this is the book for you, where you get Thomas Wayne as Batman, you get this war with the Atlanteans and the Amazons that's brutal, and it's like essentially ruined all of the economy. You get this version of Deathstroke that's really cool. You get the Shazam and his family. You get Cyborg working for the U.S., Skinny Superman, a Green Lantern that, is a little different. You'll have to see. But this book is incredible. This is some of the best Reverse Flash, where he is just a full-on a hater. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if you could pick up the omnibus. There's a lot of tie-ins, and they're pretty cool. Yeah, this is Reverse Flash, just peak hater right there. It was me, Barry. Look at that icon. That is an iconic frame of Reverse Flash. But yeah, it's a sad story when you think about it. Like, he wanted to save his mom and causes all this, so he has to accept that his mother is gone. And that's when he goes back in time to fix all this. And that's what causes New 52. That's what causes the timeline to change. So you see like all these different timelines and stuff. About to head into the New 52, which is this artwork right here. Oh, I do love this stuff with the note, which eventually Batman loses the note, because again, Reverse Flash is just a hater and he rips it up. But yeah, that's Flashpoint. Final book. I tried to only do one book per character, but I had to sneak in one more Batman book, and of course I'm talking about Batman Year One. This is where most people begin their Batman adventure. This is where I tell everybody to start. It's his origin, but it's modern and it's fantastic. What can I say about this book that hasn't been said before a bajillion times? This is Frank Miller and David Mazzucchelli's epic story, from the team that made Daredevil Born Again. And this is at a point where Batman, the Dark Knight Returns came out, and it was a big hit. So they made this book, and it retells the origin of Batman, and it's one of the best comic books of all time. It's only 4 issues. It's really quick, but it's a fantastic read showing Bruce Wayne becoming Batman, and you get it from the perspective of Jim Gordon and Bruce Wayne, and it's fantastic. And I think this book just made me appreciate Jim Gordon a lot more. But you also get the introduction of like Catwoman in here and a lot of his future rogues gallery. It's a fantastic book, and this is one that obviously everybody needs to read. So that is it. If you want again to see top 10 indie books, make sure to let me know it down in the comment section. I've been mentioning this a lot, but I'm really close to being able to be monetized. I really want to be able to start making money on this channel, and actually that would help improve the production. Like, I'd be able to make better videos. I'd be able to buy more books to actually do reviews on and reading orders. And so if you want to help me, I'm not forcing you to, but just with those watch time hours, just keep watching and enjoying. Make sure to like, subscribe, and as always, stay geeky.